welcome to the latest edition of John's Football Lockdown. In this edition I'll be talking to a young man who's a massive Manchester United fan. He's also an up-and-coming star of the music world. Elton John's a big fan of his. His name is Conrad. He'll be talking to me about his time following United and also about his career, and then he'll be playing his latest single, which was released just a week ago, No God.
So Conrad, first of all, thanks very much for joining us. Now, I know you're a massive United fan. What was the first United game that you went to?
I can't remember the actual year, but I remember the game very well. It was a cup game. I think it was either the Carling or the FA Cup against Southampton, and we won. I think it was 5-1. And the only reason I remember so vividly is that we did one of those little competitions where you predict the score. And I was really young, and I remember I predicted the right score, and I've actually got a signed picture that I won from predicting the score in my first ever game. I was so I remember my dad being like, "Don't be stupid, we're not going to win 5-1," and we did. So hopefully that didn't set you going into a life of gambling. Now, who's your favourite United player of all time? I think it's probably got to be Ronaldo. Because I actually remember that was around the time when he was relatively new, but he was just starting to really start tear things up at that point. So that was when I was first starting to go to games. So the majority of when I was going to watch United go into Old Trafford and really starting to love United was when Ronaldo was fully on the scene, tearing up the Premier League for us. So I always, just when I think back to my favourite games and favourite goals and stuff like that, it's always Ronaldo for me.
Not a bad choice there, and of course he's gone on to do great things in football, hasn't he? Now, we've all got some fantastic memories of following United. What's your best moment as a United fan?
I've got quite a few lovely ones, but I think it was probably that City game at Old Trafford when Michael Owen came off the bench and scored the winner in the last minute, and I was there. I actually went with one of my mates to that game with his family, and I just remember it was just such a good win. Never thought it was going to happen. Owen comes off the bench, and it was so good.
It's funny you should say that, because I was at the game with my son, who's a similar age to you, and we were watching the game in the Stretford end, and when City equalised, it was after 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And I remember Robert saying to me, "Come on, Dad, let's go." And I said, "No, I've got this sense that we're going to stay to the end, because I've got this sense that something's going to happen." And of course, the place went bonkers when Owen. Yeah. Probably the only thing he did for us, but hey, what a thing to do. And we've all had great moments following United, but what for you? What was the moment that's, oh no, and what was your worst moment?
I've probably got two, to be honest, because I don't know if you remember, me and my dad actually went over to Rome for the Champions League final in 2009, and obviously there was a lot of anticipation. It was the first time I'd ever been to a big away final like that. And obviously we got battered, and it was just such an anticlimax to you spend the whole day going around Rome, everyone's buzzing. We were on there was a huge group of us that went, all United fans, all sat together and that, and that was just popping a balloon, just completely deflated. And then you're back on the bus and you sat there and you're going back to the hotel and flying the first thing in the morning the next day, and it's just rubbish. And then I think that title that City won, where their game was going on slightly longer than the United game.
Yeah, don't say the name. Don't do the Martin Tyler.
And the worst thing is where I was watching it that day. I was at in this bar where it was split into two bars, and basically it was two separate rooms, but the bar kind of continues, so you can kind of hear people. And so we are then cheering on our side. And by the time I'd run out of the room to go into the other room, they're all then cheering as I run into the room it was awful. that was.
I was actually at Sunderland that day, and I'll never forget or forgive the Sunderland fans who started doing the Poznan when the result from City came through. But yeah, it wasn't a great day. Anyway, enough about United for now, though you can never get enough of United. But let's talk about what you've been doing in music, because you've had really an amazing year. I know I came to see you at the O2 Academy in Islington last year.
Yeah.
The place was packed. It was absolutely rocking. And what I found for somebody who's new to the scene and who's playing their own music, everybody knew the words.
Yeah, it was cool. That was actually my first ever sort of headline show, my first ever ticketed headline show. That was about a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was April last year, and yeah, that was amazing. That one, we didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, when you put your first headline show on, you don't know how many tickets are going to sell. Really, you gauge it based on what venue you pick, but you never know until you put the tickets on sale if they're going to sell or not. Fortunately, that one sold out very quickly in about 5 days, which was mad. And yeah, I've just been building ever since. I did my second London headline, which was twice the size of that one, in November, which also sold out as well. And then we had my next one, which was due to take place about a week ago, which obviously ended up getting pushed back, which is unfortunate because of the current situation. But yeah, it's been a really cool year. It's been definitely the biggest year for me so far. I think I've got a lot more to give and a lot more to go, but compared to the last few years since I've moved down to London, it's definitely been the biggest one yet.
And so what's this about Elton John, the Rocket Man, being a big fan?
Yeah, that was cool. So it was when I released the first single from my EP and the first single with the label that I signed with I signed in November, released the first single, Blue Blooded, in December, the first week of December it was. And we got a message, because it got a lot of support from Apple. This particular song got put on a lot of playlists by Apple, particularly in America. And the Beats radio team came across it from one of the American playlists it got put onto, which is called Breaking Pop. And they messaged us just saying that they really liked it and that they thought Elton would like it. So they said they would send it to him, and if he liked it, they'll let us know and he'll play it. And so we didn't hear anything back for a little while, and then one day we got an email from the executive producer of Elton's show saying Elton loves it and Elton would like to play it on his Rocket Hour show. It's sort of he does this thing where it's something I think it's things you know, things you don't, and things you should. And it was something that you should. So that was cool.
Absolutely amazing. Now I know the success that must have had, because shortly afterwards I use Spotify, and I get they send me an email with a weekly playlist. And I opened it up one Monday, I think it was, and there you were. I couldn't believe it. Amazing.
Yeah, I actually just got sent this morning. Someone sent me through. They put my picture as the main picture for this person's release radar playlist, which was pretty cool. So it means they're doing a good job on the playlist. My most recent song that I brought out, No God, that got added to a number of sort of quite large playlists all over the world, really. A couple of New Music Fridays, which is obviously what everyone wants to get on when you put your song out in that first week. And then going after that, we've had a number of different playlists, sort of editorial ones come in, which has been great.
Anyway, Conrad, thanks so much for joining us on Love Football Lockdown. You're going to play us out. What are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play the piano version of No God, which is one of my most recent singles. I actually just released it on Friday, the piano version, so I'm going to give that a go. Your lips are a new kind of heaven, somewhere that stays evergreen. In your perfect world I am broken, and I poison the water you drink. I was always taking more than I could give back, started getting kicked from the way you react. I just felt so powerful playing with your head. Oh,
So good at taking you for granted. My dark obsession, I can't stand it. Thought it was my favorite playing creator, but no God would ever blind me. It's my stone cold bad loving, bad loving, bad love. My bad loving, bad loving, bad love. Turned into a crisis. I drank the cola from us, 'cause I'm stubborn and I'm self-righteous. There must be evil in all that I touch. I was always taking more than I could give back. Started getting kicked from the way that you react. I just felt so powerful playing you're in. Oh, so good at taking you for granted. My dark obsession, I can't stand it. Thought it was my favorite playing creator, but no God would ever land this. My stone cold bad loving, bad loving, bad love. My bad loving, bad loving, bad love. No way you were going back. No way you were going back. No way we're going back. So good at taking you for granted. My dark obsession, I can't stand it. Thought it was my favorite playing creator, but no God would ever blind this. Oh, my stone cold bad loving, bad loving, bad love. My bad loving, bad loving, bad love.
Absolutely brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. That was Conrad with No God.
Conrad, thanks very much. Stay well, stay healthy, and I'm sure No God's going to do very well. Well, that's it for today's football lockdown. I'll be back again soon with some more interviews.